How's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in and checking out the video. Now, this video is going to be talking about the highly anticipated matchup between Nick Diaz and Anderson Silva going down Super Bowl weekend. Now, this fight is going to be highly entertaining. I'm a big fan of both of these guys. I find them to be both entertaining fighters inside the cage. Different styles between both of these guys. And the thing that makes it interesting is both of them are coming off a long layoff. So how is Nick Diaz going to look? He hasn't been in the octagon since his fight against George St. Pierre, which I believe was in late 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And Anderson Silva, of course, had his leg snapped in the rematch versus Chris Weidman. So he's been out for a while. And there's also a question of how is he going to react mentally in this fight when he has to throw that leg again? And can he still pull the trigger after that terrible incident that happened to him in his rematch versus Chris Weidman? Now, when I look at the fight, let me first start off with Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is a volume striker with a good reach. He's got good boxing skills, excellent chin, good ground game, and extremely well conditioned athlete. Nick Diaz has one of the best cardio tanks in all of pro sports, I believe, especially in combat sports. He's a guy, even when he's not training, he eats very well, stays in excellent shape, and really he just trash talks throughout his fight. His mental game is extremely strong. He's not afraid to take fights. Hence this fight, he's moving up in weight, taking on an MMA legend, Anderson Silva. Not too many guys would do that, but Nick Diaz, I believe, will fight anybody in the world. And it's great to see him back inside the octagon. Love his skills, love the way he works the body. He uses some old school boxing techniques from way back in the day, similar things to George Foreman, actually. I saw a good article about that. Anyways, moving on, guys, to Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is one of the best fighters of all time in the history of MMA. And when you look at Anderson, he's a guy who understands distance. He's got a good ground game, tons of heart. You've seen that in the Chael Sonnen fight where he's getting dominated in the first matchup, comes back to win and submits Chael Sonnen. Anderson also has good head movement and he counters you. Whenever you make a mistake, he capitalizes on it. And he's a big guy for the weight class. He's got power and speed. And Anderson Silva, when you look at him, he's also very good in the Muay Thai clinch as well. That's something that you really saw earlier on in his fights with Rich Franklin, that if he gets back to that kind of style, he was killing people in the clinch back in the day. So Anderson Silva, just an MMA legend, and he KOs people one shot. You've seen him knee people in the face, kick people in the face. He's very versatile in his striking. Now, when I'm giving out advantages in this fight, I have to give Nick Diaz the advantage of this fight of being more of a volume puncher. Also, I believe Nick Diaz has the mental edge going into this matchup. He's a big underdog. He really has nothing to lose in this fight. Also, I believe he has a better chin than Anderson Silva, and I would say that his boxing, if they were both to have a pure boxing match, and Nick Diaz maybe is a little bit better of a boxer than Anderson Silva, which brings me up to another point about Anderson Silva's striking. One of my friends, I call him the Cuban because he loves Cuban boxing. He fights with that type of style. If you watch Anderson Silva fight, Anderson Silva a lot of time throws punches from his hips, which isn't a proper technique. But nonetheless, he gets away with it because he's so well rounded and versed in striking overall. And that's going to be something interesting to see in this fight. Where I give Anderson Silva the advantage in this matchup, his overall movement, his foot speed, his head movement, also Anderson Silva's counter ability, and he also uses kicks and knees, and he's better in the clinch than Nick Diaz is. So that's what makes it such an interesting fight. He also has a size advantage fighting in his natural weight class, and he has more power and speed than Diaz does. So he has quite a few advantages over Diaz, but Diaz is the type of guy, especially late in this fight. I could see this scenario going down in this fight where Anderson Silva comes out, really does excellent early on the first couple rounds, and Diaz weathers a storm and really comes on late at the end of the fight. If Nick Diaz can cut off the ring and take some of Anderson Silva's shots and really not be too predictable, throughout the fight, he does have a chance in this matchup, especially if he can back up Anderson Silva on the cage and unleash his combinations and cut off the ring effectively. But I actually am going to take Anderson Silva to win this fight by unanimous decision. I believe Anderson Silva will work the leg of Nick Diaz. If you ever watch a Diaz brothers fight, they don't check leg kicks, so I think Anderson Silva is going to do that early to try to slow down Nick Diaz. Also, I think he should use the Carlos Condit game plan, move around the ring, and try to counter what Nick Diaz is doing and frustrate him in that regard. But the reason why I give it to Anderson Silva, just because I believe he has more weapons to use in this fight, he's more versatile. Also, the size advantage. I also feel this would be a closer fight if it was done at a catch weight, but due to Anderson Silva being more relaxed at that weight and the stronger and bigger fighter, that's another advantage Anderson has. Now, in saying that, if Anderson Silva mentally isn't there, Nick Diaz will destroy him in this fight. Let me know what you guys think of this matchup. Who you guys think is going to win. And if you're excited for this fight, guys, let me know what your opinion is on the matchup. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in and checking out the video. Also, one more thing I forgot to add. Nick Diaz, I thought a very good move. He brought in Artem Levin and Joe Schilling for this camp to work with him. And these guys are high-level glory kickboxers. So he really brought in the best sparring partners possible for this fight. Let's see what kind of work they've done with him and see if we see some new wrinkles in the game of Nick Diaz. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.